reasonable who watches my video would actually say that. I was already actually completely understood about the German message. Think about it. Why would I ever want to actually say the drastic turn? Already turn, this word choice truly reflects immediate understanding of the German message. It actually takes a turn away from the situation. That means, you know what, that's something that has never been planned, or that's really against the notion. I never actually made a mistake. Let me actually show you. I really read a German faster than Korean. My Korean has a zero value, like trash, because I do not really read the message faster than German. I want to show you. I don't really need to. I'm actually much faster. Yeah, run away and flee away, exiled and outed and come. It's really also married. I don't really need to think about it. It's very easy. I don't really need to.
Yeah,
And let me show you how quickly I can actually read it. In the fitness studio, both mains have learned each other, have got to know each other, and then love developed really quickly. From that point, 1 year after, Benjamin and Ibrahim have been actually married in November. They actually married each other. It's really easy. I'm really quick. Ibrahim was, 4 years ago out of Lebanon. Yeah. Because he had already actually made one's exile to be a migrant, right? Because he could not actually come out as a homosexual person in one's homeland, so he actually ran away from his homeland. His worst experience. Oh, he was actually thrown on the floor from the 3rd floor out of the window, just simply because of the fact that he was homosexual. I don't really need to. I really don't need to think about the dritten as really the 3rd, because I actually mispronounced it. Sometimes my English is really bad. I could not actually pronounce it, even though I really know it really well. I wanted to actually say the 3rd party really quickly. People really have a difficulty. Even if you actually read something German really quickly, your English is not good. But definitely there is no alternative than English. I cannot actually think of the story in Korean. I don't really know how to actually, 이럴 때 한국어 뭐라 해요? 드리터. I don't really know. 3rd. In English, 3rd. Sometimes, I cannot actually speak in English really fast, but that's not really a problem in a scene of German. Because, there is evidence. Every single time I actually remind myself of the proper word in English, I do not really need to hesitate it. The English word is not there. That's not really the scene. I already actually know that. It's really the dritte. Can I just say actually written down in German in this way? As long as there is a dot, definitely proves that it's really a 3rd. I don't really need to think about it. 답답해요. It really actually drives me crazy because I do not really have English words, or I cannot actually pronounce the things for English words, but I already actually picture that immediately in German. I'm not lying. I just really wanted to actually have a conversation with whoever actually claims that they can read my mind. Have I thought about that already? The moment I made this choice, he actually this takes a drastic turn. I already gave everything out to indicate that this is really something away from the scene and away from the plane. I already actually pour my everything into it to connotate that type of drastic development, totally unexpected. But because of this, pressing visual sign, I mispronounced it accidentally, but then that's done. Don't you not actually think that this is really ridiculous? I had a problem with English speaking probably, not because I had a mistake about the German, because that was not the original sentence, but I added a drastic to actually emphasize that this immediate run away from what has been already envisioned. You can actually read it. I'm not lying. I'm not actually making a choice. How he actually survived this type of fall down from the 3rd floor, that's really a mysterious and wondrous event. He was, because of that, a month long inside the hospital, and his family definitely wants to know nothing about him because of the fact that, he's gay, and he was already, beaten by his father because of the homosexuality. He already had experienced so much because of the fact that he actually loves someone other than women. He loves men, right? Despite all, Ibrahim definitely at this moment misses his family. I'm really actually sad, and I'm disappointed whenever I see how Ben and his family truly supports him for our marriage. How Bane's, family truly supports, him for our marriage. How he could actually get together his family when, my family is not at all there. They simply don't want to have anything to do with my marriage or my life. This German family truly actually cares about this fiance from homosexuality. And they would have liked to actually stand by him as a part of the family, wanted to actually, take him over regardless of under all situations, right? At least, this would be one great relief for him, Ibrahim says. With them, he would have found one true family. He would at least feel that there is someone who cares about him with a sincerity. He would at least feel very much relieved with them. Meanwhile, Ibrahim truly actually gets engaged with his a homosexual partner legally to start a life in Germany. As a homosexual migrant who just actually has run away from his homeland to be in Germany, I don't really need to think about it. That's really the reason I wanted to write that down. Because if you ever misspell something, mispronounce something, there's no way you can turn things around in a spoken sense. That's really the thing. Even if you actually hear the professional translators, they actually know what, if they are reading from something they have never read, they have a tendency to mispronounce because there are actually different words written on screen. It's not really a scene from this misunderstanding, but I just actually was deceitfully pressed by the language that's been written. But I already actually gave a plentiful indication his, pantry was closed because I already had it written down ahead of them. They were not able to make their ways to his pantry to receive groceries because he had to wrap up his business, but I couldn't actually think of the had to. So I accidentally, had it written down it must by looking into this screen. Then I wanted to actually make a distinction and modification to turn things around. That means I wanted to actually, change the meaning of it, but I failed to do so. So not really rereading the original sentence. I thought that, there's no way I can actually resurrect it. Let's try to drop it. Think about what else I can actually deliver. The sense of obligation in the past tense. That's really the reason I had to actually change it as I had to. Not because I was actually floated with this original sentence, but I already clearly got the message and the meaning. But I actually imagined that this was actually done deal. This was already closed because, his customers were denied to have any access to it. I already got the message really clearly. Sometimes, this language, the other languages are really weak. I couldn't actually think of it really clearly and fast enough to have representation. That's really not the scene. I'm not lying. When the secret of a mother, what? Family secret. I don't really need to think about it. It's really easy. From one's childhood as a little one, even as a Corolla, fights for the love of her mother. The relationship with her was ice cold and very much suppressed with burden. She experiences this even at her age 43. She fights for that, and she also shares this. In the past, Corolla already had this feeling that this man staying with her mother is not her biological father. At her age 25, she confirmed that suspicion. Corolla's mother would actually want to keep this away from her as the truth by disseminating the wrongful idea. Corolla's mother never really would like to have this idea published by sharing it with her. Yeah. So whenever, Corolla truly asked this question to her mother, to know, who is her biological father, whether he knows she exists. At her age of 43, she finally experiences who her father is. But she could not actually get to know him because he was already dead. Carola confronts her mother, and she wants to know the truth at the end. Then she experiences that her mother, at the time, was already pregnant because of the sexual violation and manipulation, as she was already truly been pregnant coming from the violation. She finally experiences that truth at her age of 43 when her mother was pregnant. She had been sexually raped and sexually manipulated. Carola feels very terrible to get to know this truth on one hand, because she actually, had brought the situation back to her mother by forcing her to be reminiscent about this, because she was the one who actually, truly dug this up. That's really the reason she feels at this moment very terrible on one side, because she, would like to remain unknown to this by not visiting this once more, but it was Carola who forces her mother to have this memory brought back to her, which she would like to keep it away from her. That's really the case. On the other hand, she at least has a certain right to experience as a child who her biological father is. She, on the other hand, she feels that she really deserves this, because as a child, she has a right to know and get to experience who her father is. She actually had, no contact anymore for many years with her mother. First, at the deathbed, Carola truly receives this distance that has ever been closed, and closer enough to feel her body, what she already has wished for many years. That's what has been said. On the deathbed, Carola finally becomes a chance to get physically close to her, at least what she has wished for many years, right? It's really easy. I don't really need to.